Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of Synapse Connecting Knowledge with People. And we have today one of our esteemed guests, Mr. Shailendra Goswami, sir. He is our mentor and he has a huge experience of more than 40 years into industry and entrepreneurship. He is the chairman and MD of Pushkaraj Group, and to list his achievements and his enterprising nature, we would take at least half an hour. But to make it short and sweet, I would say that Sir has been a very strong figure, doing a lot of service to uh, young budding entrepreneurs like me. He has been phenomenal in connecting people across countries. His network is spread across 16 countries. He's a proud alumnus of COEP and IIM Bangalore. Having said that, his expertise lies into core business areas, and we will be happy to have you, sir, here, and the students and faculties and people across platform will be happy to take up a lot of insights from your journey so far. Welcome, sir, to
Thank
the
you. Thank you, and good morning to everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. So my colleague Dr. Ruta Savarkar is unable to attend the session today. Apologies on that front. Two most important question I would like to ask you, sir, as you know, like this is an interview series, and we would like to understand through a very friendly dialogue how you have been able to enterprise, or what is your understanding of entrepreneurship, and how is your journey all through these 30 plus years in this very niche area of yours.
Thank you, Dr. Vishal, for giving me this opportunity to be present with you on an interview. Although I have been busy last 8 months talking on different subjects on different platforms domestically and globally on different topics related to COVID, challenges, opportunities, and plus my own businesses within the group. But this is a different, this is the second of the series which I'm appearing as on an interview where people are seeking my experience and my views on certain aspects of maybe business or maybe personalities or maybe character and the opportunities and whatnot. So before coming to my entrepreneurship exercise, which I started in 1992, I would like to go back a little as to why did I really change my portfolio from being an employee to an entrepreneur. Like anybody from the campus, I was selected. And the first job is always a casualty from the campus. So I could stick around for a year, and then immediately I changed the job. And that job I stuck to for nearly 14 years. And only that job I could take it very, very seriously in my curriculum or my resume. And normally I do not write that casualty which I added from the campus where I was selected. But then, at that time, the rush is to get a good job, a good position, but then the contents, they get decided when you really start doing that. So maybe that was a missed call, I must say, so I had to correct it. And within a year or so, I corrected and I came down to Pune and then secured a job. And that job really gave me that satisfaction, the responsibility, a lot of accountability. And that is where I stuck to. And for 14 years, I was there. So from the junior most level to the senior most level, I attained in 14 years, or maybe 12 years, you can say. And then 2 years, I was at the helm of the business unit. And thereafter, I felt that what all I had to achieve is more or less achieved because the annual operating plans were fulfilled. the activities were under control, the distribution and everything was under control as a business unit. And maybe management was also satisfied by that. And then finally, I realized that I had not, that job content was not enough to take up the 8 hours of my working schedule there. So normally in the afternoon after lunch, I used to read magazines and books and whatnot. And I was just 39, 40 at that time. So at that age, having grasped so much of education and experience, I really felt some kind of a guilt or guilt conscience. And then I said "Okay, that did I earn this qualification or experience to satisfy only myself? Or did I do that to remain in a cozy corner and then make prosperity out of your own life and then enjoy that for whatever those many years are there? I said, I'm just in late 30s and just completing 40s. And then I've got a very, very large, you can say, time schedule left in my lifespan of at least 25 to 30 years. And I should not be relaxing at the age of 39, 40. So I introduced that concept of disruption way back in 1992.
Yeah.
So almost 28 years ago, people talk about disruptions now, and I created that at that time because I had almost completed my tenure there. I was not able to add any new values into the existing job. So I said that let me introspect myself. Because sometimes in your own lifespan, after reaching a top, you have to understand that why did you reach the top? Whether you were good or whether you got the opportunities or whether you were there at the right time for the right job. So I wanted to introspect myself that people were looking at me as a professional or people were looking at the chair which I was holding as a business unit chief as something which was important to them. So I really wanted to test myself for whatever that education I had and the experience I had. So I decided to really announce that I am in open for doing something else.
Yes.
And this is where I received so many offers for jobs. After I left, I received so many offers for jobs. Within a week's time, I had nearly 7 to 8 options available to me, of which there were 3 options which were for business.
Okay.
And the business was very, very typical in the sense that there were 3 of my friends who said that I should not be monopolized by a single company for the skills that I possess. I said, fine, that is very good to say, but then I have to run my family. What do I do with that? So I said, they said that, okay, fine. In a week, 3 days for one day each, you come to our factories and advise us. So you are left with 3 days, and then balance 3 days, you start your own venture.
Okay.
I said, that was something which I should have taken. It was a fair challenge. And that objective of me introspecting myself was also getting satisfied. There were 3 people at least who wanted to believe in me and then pay me that salary which I was supposed to get as a business unit head. And this is where I took up that challenge and the plunge. And I started advising them and then simultaneously floated my own enterprise, which is Pushkaraj Enterprises at that time today, which has become
It was in
Pushkaraj Group.
1992.
92, to be precise, 5th October 1992, which was Dashera. And Dashera happens to be my wife's birthday. So I inaugurated my office on her birthday.
Great.
And there were many people who attended that ceremony. And I am very proud to say that the company which I left, the chairman of that entire group, came and inaugurated my office. I would say only office because it was only 220 square feet at that time in Sadashivpet. And he came all the way. I had to show him that lane in Sadashivpet because he didn't know about it. And no one is expected to know at that particular level. So the chairman, managing director of the group came and then inaugurated my company. And on that day, after inauguration, they appointed me as advisor for their group for 3 years.
Oh.
So, it was absolutely a fantastic gesture in the sense, normally when you leave a job, there are a lot of people who attach so many gossips to that leaving job part of it. He must have done something wrong or something must have happened. He must have fought with somebody because of that educational tag, all those kinds of things, they come along. But then, this situation which happened, that I left the job, the chairman or managing director of that company came, inaugurated my office, and appointed me again back as advisor for 3 years, virtually sealed everyone's mouth in Pune city. Pune is very small that way.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah. So whatever you do really get circulated within no time. And then we have time to gossip. And then generally when you are gossiping, you don't gossip for positive things. You always gossip for negative things. And this
That is
particular
human nature. Yeah.
this particular aspect of it virtually sealed everything. And right from the second day, I got myself busy. So my wife had given me a target that you have a fantastic job. Why do you want to get into something? So finally, after a lot of discussions and convincing, because ultimately you have to convince your wives or your
Correct.
family members what you want to
Correct.
do. So ultimately she said, Kida, okay, fine. You have so much of desire to do something different. Why don't I give you 2 years? In that 2 years, if you fail, you go back to the job. I said, okay, done. And I knew that I'm not going to fail. And those 2 years never came. Right from the second day, I was on a roll. And then 5th October 1992 and 5th October 2020, we completed almost 28 years of our business. And another 2 years' time, we'll be completing 30. I will become 70 years old at that time. Today, I'm 68. So I'm still going on.
So it's very
So
energetic to see you talk always. Yeah. Perfect. So
yeah, so this is what was the preamble, which you must know, Kidata, why and how I became the entrepreneur.
so
Now, your question of experience, sorry, you want to ask
So
something?
here I would like to ask, an interjection, so what was those qualities, which you nurtured so that your boss had, and not only came for the inauguration, but he put you on an advisor or an expert with him for almost 3 years. So
Yes.
what were those qualities of, one must nurture, you can say?
Yeah, actually, nobody thinks of you when you are there.
Okay.
Like we always say that the presence is not felt, the absence is. So I left in May and I inaugurated in October. So between May and October, 4 months, maybe they understood what was the gap which was there, which was created by me. So the saying is very well said that the presence is not felt, and absence is. And normally you assume a lot, and which is what is the sort of a tip I would like to give to the all youngsters, is that never assume a situation, never assume personalities, never assume a character. You must be vigilant about everything what is happening around you, because there could be a loss. For that matter, I got corrected and I was brought back into this thing, but then every time that may not happen. So that was one. Secondly, when I was doing a job, I was never was doing a job like a job. म्हणजे मराठीत आपण म्हणतो की पाट्या टाकायचं काम करत नव्हतो मी. I was sitting there as if it was my own business. I used to travel almost 20 days in a month. And then virtually I had taken those targets to my heart. And then I always enjoyed performing and going beyond the targets. And that is where I grew up very fast in the organizations. And people used to like me. Sitting in the office, sitting in the departments, I used to virtually be an advisor to many people on different problems,
Okay.
right from customs, sales tax, excise to anything. So there are several such instances which I can keep narrating where I have worked on excise problems, I have worked on custom duty problems, although that was not my domain, but then they used to come and I used to say that give me that custom manual, I'll read it and give it to you as the solution, sort of a thing. So that habit of problem solving was there in me, and which is what these three friends of mine, they picked up. He says that you are always ready to receive the problems and then are ready to offer solutions, and which is what really became sort of a, you can say, inward, and I made that as my business, that
Okay.
I will solve problems of the industry. Now, these problems could be in the area of cost, it could be in the area of delivery, it could be in the area of technology, or it could be in the area of availability. And this was my theme with which I started my business. And these advices must have paid. most of the people, that is where they came back to me and they put me in business.
Okay. So if I may sum it up, like, these aspects, you said something about ownership that you took, while you are on the job, and you felt that that is, your organization, and you took it to your shoulder. And second important thing you said was you're a people person.
Yes.
You talk to everybody. You had this relationship across the departments. So that is what made the difference in not only building your expertise, but also like you have that skills apart from the interpersonal relationship between people, the relationship management. That is the crux. I would
Yes.
want the young entrepreneurs to understand, like me from you, like for example, what one thing these youngsters must keep in mind while nurturing relationships. One or two things that you can say the most, like.
Basically, you should be person who should be really rating empathy as the highest in your personality. Because right from peon in my office to the vice president level, I had relationships, including the chairman of the company, who was almost 90 years old or 80 years old. Everyone wanted always me being around and talking to me on different problems and looking at the solutions, because I always was full of ideas. I'll give you an example. One of those days, my office boy was really very, very down. So I asked him, when I was in job, I asked him what was the problem. He said that घरी gas nahi hai, cylinder nahi hai, त्यामुळे problem येतो. So I had some spare cylinders. So the next day in my car, I put it and I came and delivered it to him. I said that whenever you get that, you come back to me. Now, this was a very, very small gesture, but then you can imagine that person got wedded to me for life as far as loyalty was concerned.
Correct.
That this was pure humanity. It doesn't cost you much to really spend that 1 minute or one extra hour for somebody, but then that somebody really comes out of the problem. I have done such things for every situation for many people around, whether in India or overseas or many places. So people look at me as a sort of, you can say, a facilitator or a catalyst, right from interpersonal relationship, my friends' marriages, counseling. You name the things, I have to handle all these things,
I can
partnership
vouch for you.
disputes.
You're a very good counselor as well. You are able
Yeah.
to change the minds of people in a direction and a positive aspect. That's a
Yes,
wonderful thing.
that is what it is.
Yeah.
Your question of my experience and the journey as an entrepreneur, which I would like to narrate, because it has been wonderful, 28 years, to tell you frankly, because basically I'm a staunch optimist. I always see opportunities in everything. Even if you say there is a problem, I see an opportunity in that problem. Like this COVID, everyone is bogged down by that negativity of that COVID. In every seminar or webinar of mine, I have got the comment that you're the only person who keeps talking positive outcomes of this COVID. I said, that is my job. That is my personality. That you need to, one door closes, 10 doors open. So your wisdom lies in looking at those 10 doors. And this is what has been my basic recipe of success into being a businessman. And this is one of those qualities which helped me out. It has been a very, very satisfying experience adding values into the system and creating a brand. Pushkaraj today is a brand
Okay.
which is known around the world. Because people ask me, why did I put Pushkaraj as a name? Because it's a gem. It's a yellow stone. आपण त्याला मराठीत येलो टोपाज म्हणजे
Yes.
टोपाज म्हणतात काही लोक, पण पुष्कराज हा खडाच आहे. पण देन I have reasons for everything. My
Correct.
son was born on Guru Pushya.
Okay.
So we named him Pushkaraj. And like in any Hindu organization or culture, आपल्या मराठी संस्कृतीत, we named the first company in the name of your son. So that was Pushkaraj. And if you see my visiting card also, I have designed it in a manner that you can take that visiting card out of 500,000 cards in 2 or 3 seconds, because
We'll
I
be
have
able
designed it
to
in that
recognize
manner.
it.
Yeah, I have designed it in that manner. There are 3 lines in that. One color is yellow, second one is red, and the third line is golden. And my logo is also Pushkaraj, the gem
Yes,
itself.
yes, yes.
Now, these three lines depict our Hindu culture in the sense that yellow is Harat, red is Kunku, and gold is
Yeah,
wealth.
correct, correct.
So gold is the sign of wealth. So I have been praying to my God with Harat Kunku that give me some wealth, sort of a thing.
Fantastic.
So that was a total original concept of mine, which I designed it by that card. And this is what I have created that brand. So every time I explain this to Indians, it appeals very well. But to foreigners, this is absolutely difficult to understand what exactly is this. But then they appreciate the amount of thinking that goes into that. So that basic habit of doing everything in detailing has helped me as becoming an entrepreneur and virtually work out the challenges which I face, because every day is a challenge, every day is a new day, and you are walking into an unknown territory every time you are there. Now, the challenges have been many. I can narrate several such challenges where I have had and gone to a bigger diesel engine manufacturer. And when I said that I offer problem solving, so he put his hand on my shoulder. I said, "Come along," and he showed me the entire engineering department, which was full of 250 people. He says that I think these people are also busy giving me solutions to the problems. I said, "Sir, you have mistaken. I did not mean that there is nobody to solve your problems. I said that you may be having 1,000 problems. Give me 3 of them." But my purpose was served, that I wanted to provoke him. You are a psychologist, so you will understand it. That provocation is the best method in offense. That you
Elicit
provoke, then
response.
the real thing comes out.
Yeah.
You have to take somebody to the north, then he'll say that this is not north, we have to go to south. So meaning the real direction immediately opens out. So he says that, okay, fine, you want to solve problems. He immediately called somebody and then gave me 3 drawings. And that day I told my assistant, who was sitting right next to me, that today I have become OEM to this customer. He said, "How can you say that?" I said, "The very fact he's given me those 3 drawings, I'm going to achieve those 3 drawings, because that's my habit. And that is where I am doing this business for. If that anybody gives me a problem or challenge, I'm going to take up that challenge and then work it out." So, and in 45 days, I gave solution to them, which they were not able to get it in 6 months. And thereafter, that person, you can believe, he was holding my hand and taking me in every department and saying that you have a problem, give it to him. You have a problem, give it to him. You have a problem, and give it to him. So performance after performance, has been the story of successes which I have got it. So my experience in business is that you've got to be ultimately a performer. There is no place for non-performer.
Very true.
Because people may entertain you once or twice, but then if you want to remain a long-term player, then you need to really perform, keep performing.
Okay.
The business has given me a very good opportunity to do so many diverse things in products, services, sourcing of technology, and things like that, which otherwise I would not have been able to do. So, sharing of my business experiences or a journey of an entrepreneur, I think I'll take a much longer time. But then I think this was the crux of it.
So it's really amazing, and I feel that 30 years and on in this journey, and still inspiring the huge group of individuals which are like me. I'm also still, first time I met you almost a year back. I have been always looking for some of the other kind of new things that I can learn from you. So my next question is, sir, the education today that these students get, maybe in schools and colleges, what are the aspects, in terms of really putting forward for this generation Z, that they must take care in their learning, and being they should they imbibe on the journey of entrepreneurship, and why? What are the factors that may help them in their education? Vis-a-vis, should they uh, trade on the part of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, actually, there are two sides to it. One is I will cover the academics part of it. Students in academic institutions and preparedness for a profession. That profession could be either a job or it could be an entrepreneurship. So let me focus the first part of it, in which there are two parties involved. One is student and second is faculties from the institute, or the institute per se, or the organization which is imparting knowledge. Now, organizations which are imparting knowledge, they have their mandate and they will keep doing that. But the ultimate responsibility lies on the students, on understanding what they are learning and whether that has really or a relevance to the present situation or not. Now, to do that, a student has got to be very, very serious when he is pursuing his academic qualification, and he must grasp everything of that core knowledge of the degrees or the discipline that he is pursuing. My experience invariably tells me most of the times when we are interviewing students from engineering or management colleges, you ask a question, they say that, sir, it was done 4 years ago, so we have forgotten that. Now, this is not the answer what one is required. You just imagine a medical practitioner. If there is a patient who comes and he says, well, I studied medicine 10 years ago, I've forgotten. Do you think you will be pardoned for that? That is not acceptable. So why it is acceptable in other professions? So people should take this thing very, very seriously. I always give this example of a doctor treating you. If he comes out, he's saying that I'm only a trainee doctor. So if something happens to you, you are responsible. You won't take it. You will just slap him or do something else. But this is what is very, very important. A student must take whatever that time available very, very seriously and pursue the knowledge that he is looking for and grasp it. There is a need to acquire some additional skills. The academic institutions, they teach you all the hard skills. Some of them, they have started teaching you soft skills these days. But then to make a perfect personality, you need to have an additional qualification in terms of soft skills. Now, soft skills means what? The biggest flaw that we have it in our system is that we do not have a proper effective communication skills, knowledge imparting. We do not have somebody teaching you what is written communication, what is oral communication, how does one write a letter, how does one write a report, or how does one read a report and analyze and things like that. Now, this is what is very, very important, which every student must acquire it outside the academics. If institute doesn't teaches you, does not mean that somebody or something stops you from learning that. So soft skills in that communication is the biggest thing, because ultimately the knowledge is here, but it comes out of your mouth, and then whatever you say, expression. So you have to have command on language, you have to have command on expressions, and you have to have that knowledge also.
Very true.
So simply, there are people who can talk grammatically correct, but they don't have content. म्हणजे चणे आहेत तर दात नाही, दात आहेत तर चणे नाही, अशी सिच्युएशन होते. पण then in order somebody becomes perfect, because if your goal is to become entrepreneur, you are virtually pinned against a wall. There is nothing you can go back. You can't blame somebody. Like my boss always used to say that you point a finger at somebody, there are three fingers pointing at you. And you've got to understand that you cannot keep finding fingers. And the next sentence, what he used to say is that, therefore, I always point like this, that I point all five fingers at you.
This is interesting. I would do it now.
So he never used to point a finger like this. He used to point like this, so that you don't catch me on my own saying. So therefore, soft skills like communication, interpersonal relations, teamwork, team building, because everything that you do, you can't do it alone. There has to be team building, group dynamics. You must understand how to play around in a group, how to carry everyone's opinion and try to become a leader or something like that. Stress management and decision making, also one of the few things which everyone must learn. This is not a part of a curriculum. Nobody will tell you how to take decisions, but then this is a part of life. Every decision can make or break you. And this is what we have been seeing in society. You as a psychologist, you must be experiencing it, that wrong decisions lead to different kinds of personalities and they make a mess of their life and things like that. So there is a need to master the art of money making. Now, these are not a part of curriculum. How do you do money management? Money management can be learned from your mothers or your parents who are doing it day in, day out.
This is a
when they are imparting education to you.
Thing.
Very critical thing, because then we are used to partying. We say that work hard and party hard, but then nobody understands that that party hard really takes away the concepts of money management. Because what you're earning, you're blowing. So you want to follow certain Western styles, but then Western people live differently. We live entirely in an emotional and cultural setup here, in a joint family sort of a thing. Those kind of cultures do not prevail here, and you will always be coming to a level where you will have a split personality, that you will not be able to understand things very well. There is a risk management also needs to be understood. How do we evaluate risk, and how do we attach probabilities to, and then take the lowest hanging fruit and with a lower risk sort of a thing. Critical thinking, problem solving, analytical skills, all these things are not taught, but then this has to become part of it. And I have learned it through my experiences, reading books. Libraries are there, nobody goes to library actually. So students must acquire that habit of reading, and reading teaches you a lot many things. So this being a portion where students really, they prepare themselves for the professional world. When you come out in the professional world, uh, it's a world full of all uncertainties. The people who are waiting to really catch you, it's a wild forest. You don't know from where what will come. So your preparedness, whether the job preparedness or preparedness for entrepreneurship, has to be absolutely immaculate. And I must say that a youth today is very, very intelligent. They can accomplish anything that they want. I have great regards for their analytical skills. I have great regards for their information availability, their resources which are available at hand. But then deploying those things in a proper slot is what is missing, and which is what is very, very important for people to understand. So becoming an entrepreneur is not very difficult, but then डुईंग इट जर प्रेमात पडणं सोपं असतं, प्रेम निभावणं फार अवघड असतं. तसं ते आहे. बिकमिंग अ बिझनेसमॅन इज फाईन, बट देन doing that business every day the same intensity is a problematic thing, because every day you have to do like a military discipline, you have to virtually work out. And this is what is very, very important message which I would like to give it to most of the youth, that yes, you always look at a businessman for his wealth, or the way he drives his cars, or the way he travels overseas, or the way he lives and things like that. But you do not see his hard work. You do not see that he's committed 24 by 7, all 365 days. In a meeting, in a dinner, in a lunch, he's always having a phone, attending some calls or things like that. So life is not easy, but it's not difficult also, provided, because life has meaning. Life has to be purposeful. And if that purpose is to succeed, or prosper is to become prosperous, you need to slog it out. Why not?
Very true, very true. So, students, or maybe young people, or maybe anybody, venture, who wants to venture out, go into the the entrepreneurship journey. What, or maybe to some extent, maybe all students, or all employable population, you've just narrated some of the very niche skills that they would want to harbor or nurture in themselves. But in challenging times as of now, the entire globe is going through some of the other kind of, every sector has suffered, but your optimism really gives us that different outlook, look towards things. What these youth can really, do to stay focused, and look for themselves, as to, like, they'll be able to make some difference, even though coming out of these challenging times.
Let me tell you, I will go back to challenges and opportunities. They are, they're two sides of the same coin. And every time you are looking at challenges or problems, you always think about one thing, that for every problem, there is at least one solution, if not many. So your intellect decides how fast you reach that solution. So if somebody says that this problem is unsolvable, I don't believe that, at least based on my experience. So a problem means there has to be a solution. Correct. Now, you need to really apply your analytical skills. You need to apply your experiences or knowledge or academics to really come closer to that. Because if you see it historically, nobody can ever claim that a problem is not solved or it has remained as a problem. because then that could become a subject for a PhD for somebody.
Very true.
So because one can get that PhD out of that, but then all these problems are getting solved. So you need to be very, very optimistic in really working it out. To become successful in business, a youth must have an idea, basically, not passion. Passion cannot create a businessman. You must have an idea for the product or a service or a technology, and it has to be backed up by a concrete business plan. When I mean business plan, you must have that knowledge about the technical viability, the commercial viability. What I say is the revenue model. Based on this particular business model, business plan, you can work out a revenue model. Why does one talk about revenue model? Because when you don't have cash in your hand, if you're going to a bank or you're going to be an NBFC, a non-banking financial institution, they are going to ask you about what is that return on investment, what is that revenue model. So this revenue model will give you funding. The moment you get funding, if you have that art of money management with you, you can use those funds in a manner that you can generate wealth, and that wealth you can reap into the business, recirculate it, and grow further. And this is the cycle which every youth must understand, that there is sequence to everything. I have a passion म्हणून काय बटाटे वड्याचं दुकान टाकण्यात काय पॉईंट नाही. काही लोकांची इच्छा असते, पण ते जरी टाकलं तर जोशी वडेवाल्यांनी भरपूर बिझनेस केलाय आणि गेले 30 वर्ष बिझनेस करतायत ते. ₹1.25 सुरू करून ₹10 आज वडा आलेलाच आहे. And they have made that as a brand, actually. So anything is possible provided you have an idea, you have a business plan, and you have a revenue model. So youth must always look for this thing. There are a couple of things which I would like to tell the youth, that there needs to be some focus which has got to be done. Or हल्लीच्या लोकांना इन्स्टंट कॉफी मध्ये जास्ती इंटरेस्ट आहे. दे वॉन्ट इन्स्टंट रिझल्ट्स. सो माझं म्हणणं असं आहे की प्लीज डोंट एक्सपेक्ट टू मेनी थिंग्स टू फास्ट. एव्हरीथिंग हॅज अ सायकल. लाईक आम्ही मार्केटिंगमध्ये म्हणतो की देर इज अ प्रॉडक्ट लाईफ सायकल. Today you introduce product, tomorrow it doesn't achieve maturity. So there is a life cycle which has a graph which grows very, very slowly. So a business also works out like that. But तसं व्हायचं झालं तर मग ते हर्षद मेहता सारखं होतं की that the rise and fall is the same. What we say that normal distribution curve, the slope with which you rise, the same slope you fall. Whereas, meaning this morning itself, I was reading the comparison between Harshad Mehta and Mr. Narayan Murthy, and which is very, very comparable. So what I am talking is the model which Mr. Narayan Murthy started. First 10 years, they have virtually struggled. And then thereafter, today, 2.5 lakh people are employed in Infosys. And you know what exactly is Infosys. It started small. So an idea has to be there, backed up by a business plan and a revenue model to get that funding. And then you should not expect too many things too fast to be achieved. And you must work always on the long-term goal, which is what I have been just saying, is that make your curve as flat as possible so that you rise slowly and you fall slowly. So definitely, when you are trying to cross your maturity, you have to rejuvenate that particular model by injecting certain new thoughts. So you again get another normal distribution curve for the rise. So these are simple principles for the younger generation to understand in their own language. I'm trying to explain. But when somebody is sitting across me, I will do the calculations and show it by mathematics. But then it is not difficult, but it is not simple also.
Very true.
So first I build hopes, first I motivate people, and thereafter I give them red flags. Because red flag is not to be shown first. Red flag is to be shown the last. First of all, you have to build that confidence, because I know for sure that there are not enough jobs into the market. Whatever one does, government is injecting a lot of funds that we are learning that there would be 5 crore jobs which will be done. But then can we imagine the 50% of our population is young, which is roughly around 60 crores. Now, 60 crores is young between 20 and 30 years, and they will be coming for the job situations. Now, tell me, do we have those many jobs? We don't have. So rather than taking a job, rather we give 10 jobs. So job seeker say job giver baniye. That is what I'm saying, that you create 10 job opportunities by becoming an entrepreneur. And you can, provided you do some homework yourself.
Very true, very true. So, inspiring, although, sir, we have been looking around us. There are a lot of stories of people venturing out, going for this journey, and there are also stories which come up with they have been unsuccessful in their ventures, and somehow students are inspired by what they see around, like people become successful, becoming unsuccessful. I would want to ask you as a last question in today's interview: is this journey of being an entrepreneur ever rewarding, whether you success or fail in your life?
Um, the answer to your question is yes. Okay. It has been very, 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 very rewarding. And why I say rewarding? Because it gives you that satisfaction that you are adding values into the system. And secondly, you are creating a brand, you are creating jobs, you are supporting families of all my employees, meaning several of them. They are virtually amala dua detat roz ki baba, we are supporting them in these times, hard times of COVID. Also, we have not kept anybody unpaid. We have paid all the salaries. So this is sort of a reward which we get out of such gestures we work out. There are three terms which I would like to use. One is emotional rewards. Second is physical, and the third one is financial. Okay. All these three rewards are available when you are in business, or for that matter, the way I have done this. And I have got all these three. How do I explain? Emotionally, I'm always stable. I'm always comfortable because I'm successful. I have performed. I have got, these are all interlinked, you can say. Because I am successful, I get my finances right. Because I get my finances right, I get my emotions right. Because my emotions are right, my physical health is right. So it's all a chain which really helps me out in balancing my lifespan. And rewards is something, it is not necessarily always material. Very true. Sometimes it comes by way of this. That is where I say that touchwood, today I'm 68 and I am not on any tablet or on any diet or whatever it is. मी सगळं खातो आणि सगळं करतो. त्यामुळे this can happen only if my chemicals within my body are balanced. And they can be balanced because of these three relationships which I have said. Is that I'm doing things which are right, I'm doing things which are required, I'm doing things which has a social objective. I'm doing not only for myself, I'm doing it for the समाजा करता ही करतोय. की त्याच्यात मी several families I'm supporting, and then plus I'm supporting by extracurricular activities of mine. I'm going back to my alma mater, I'm going back to students. I don't know how many, several thousands of students have heard me talking on different topics. So far, I think more than 400 to 500 sessions I must have done in last so many years on 50 to 60 different topics. Now, these are all the rewards as far as I'm concerned. Now, these come because I have established stability in some place. There is biggest reward which I have got is that I have created an opportunity for my second generation. Oh. My entire second generation is into our group companies, and they are at the helm of that. Now, they could come about because they saw me personally when they were children, and they saw me succeeding, and they saw me hardworking and things like that. So I didn't have to teach them anything. It was there in their genes, but they saw it practically. When my son was in 8th standard, I took him overseas to sign an agreement. Oh. And for that, there was one examination which was coming in between. So I went and met the principal. And I told him that can this paper be given after he comes back? So he asked me the reason. So I explained to him that this is what it is, that he's coming to me as one of the directors in our company. And then he needs to sign some agreement there. Now, he got up and congratulated me. He says that if you're taking so much of effort in building up your child, we are sitting here to do the same, and I won't stop. And you will not believe he was granted that leave for the last paper. It came with me, and after he came back, there was a special exam which was conducted for him.
Fantastic, fantastic.
There is another same for my son. There was another incident in a management college which happened that the legal side of business was the topic on which seminar was given, and then he gave a presentation on the contract. The detailing in which he gave that presentation of the contract, the faculty member, he got up and he said that couple of clauses you explained, I also don't know. How did you come to know of all this? Then he said that I've just gone and come back, signed this agreement. So this is all the agreement. Now, tell me, what big reward you can have besides this, that your second generation is carrying on the mantle or the baton which you have handed over to them, and the same legacies, the same values are getting transferred into the society. We are creating a beautiful society around us of very, very positive minded, very, very optimistic environment. And therefore, in whatever way we can contribute to society, uh, does happen. And I personally consider that as my reward.
Fantastic. No, this is really, really inspiring. I mean, the experience that you narrated just now really takes a lot of strength also to initiate and also transfer this knowledge and this inspiration to your next generation. And I'm sure with your insights and with your, talk today, numerous students and parents of theirs will be benefited. I wholeheartedly, on behalf of Brainberg and this interview series, from my entire team, I thank you, sir, for being with us and keep inspiring us. And let us hope that a lot of students take up your advice and take their journey of entrepreneurship ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.